Tonight we step into a world where the impossible becomes reality, where the ordinary twists into the extraordinary, and where truths feel stranger than the wildest fiction. Imagine a place where history hides shocking secrets, where science bends the limits of belief, and where everyday life holds mysteries you never saw coming. These are not stories, these are facts mind-blowing, unbelievable, and absolutely true. And as we unlock them, one by one, you'll find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew. But here's the wall. Every fact we reveal tonight will hit harder, shake deeper, and leave you speechless. So if you crave mystery, if you love wonder, if you're ready for the kind of knowledge that rattles the very core of reality, stay with us. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because what you're about to hear may just change the way you see the world forever. Behind the wall of ordinary life, we often believe the simplest things are just as they appear. Fruits are fruits, berries are berries, and the labels we've grown up with are fixed truths. But what if I told you one of the most beloved snacks on earth, that yellow, sweet, soft fruit we peel and eat without a second thought, doesn't just surprise us with flavor, it shocks us with science. Bananas, yes, bananas are berries. And the strawberry, that bright red fruit we love to crown with sugar, chocolate, and cream, isn't a berry at all. It sounds impossible, absurd, maybe even laughable. But step into the hidden world of botany and you'll see why the truth is far stranger than what we've always believed. To the scientist, a berry isn't defined by its sweetness or its size. It's not about being juicy or colorful or perfect for smoothies. A berry, in the rawest sense, is a fruit that comes from a single ovary of a flower containing seeds embedded inside. That's it. That is the sacred definition, written by nature, not by the grocery store. Now think of the banana. A flower blooms, and from one ovary comes a fruit inside. Tiny seeds so small you barely notice them. By every scientific measure, the banana fits the definition of a berry. It may not look like one. It may not taste like the blueberries or cranberries we know, but it is as true a berry as nature can create. But strawberries are imposters in disguise. They seem like the very symbol of a berry, bright red, sweet, heart-shaped, bursting with seeds across their skin. But here's the twist. Those little seeds on the outside aren't seeds at all in the way you think. Each one of them is a separate fruit called an achene with its own tiny seed inside, which means that the strawberry itself isn't a berry. It's a collection of many tiny fruits fused together into one. The name, the look, the taste, all of it fooled us into believing it was what it's not. Pause for a moment and think about the betrayal of it. From childhood, we've been told berries are strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. The very word berry lives in their names, and yet, in the rule book of science, they fail the test. Blueberries, yes, real berries. Raspberries and blackberries, no, they, like strawberries, are imposters, clusters of multiple small fruits combined into one. The truth is, bananas belong in the berry family, while strawberries do not. And here's where it gets even stranger. Cucumbers, eggplants, even tomatoes, they're all berries by definition. Yes, the tomato you slice into for a salad, the cucumber you pickle for crunch, the eggplant you roast for dinner, all of them bear the same title as the banana of true berries. The world is upside down. What you thought was simple, ordinary, and unquestionable is suddenly shaken. The strawberry, the fruit that has been the poster child of berries for centuries, stripped of its title, and the banana, the humble, everyday lunchbox snack, quietly crowned the real berry. So the next time you peel a banana, don't just think of it as food. Think of it as a scientific rebellion against everything you thought you knew. Think of the strawberry too, not as a berry, but as a grand illusion, a symbol of how the world tricks us with appearances. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start to wonder what other simple truths hidden in plain sight are waiting to rewrite the way we see reality. At the edge of mystery lies a truth so staggering, so vast, it almost feels impossible to wrap your mind around it. When you look at the night sky, you see a scatter of stars, tiny twinkling lights stitched across a black canvas, maybe 100, maybe 1,000 if the night is clear and far from the city's glare. But here is the reality that shakes the very foundation of how small we are. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on every beach, on every desert, on every shore of planet Earth combined. Stop and imagine that for a moment. Take every coastline you've ever seen, every ocean shore from the Pacific to the Atlantic, every desert stretching across continents, every grain clinging to your shoes after a walk by the sea. Picture billions upon billions of grains slipping through your fingers. Now multiply that number by the unimaginable, and still the universe holds more stars. Scientists estimate there are roughly 7.5 quintillion grains of sand on Earth. That's a 7 followed by 18 zeros, too large to truly picture. But the universe, it laughs at numbers that big. Astronomers believe there may be around 200 billion trillion stars scattered across the observable universe. That's not just bigger, it's so incomprehensibly vast that the human brain struggles to even picture it. And here's where the mystery deepens. Each one of those stars is not just a light in the sky. Each one could be a sun. Each one could have planets. Each one could have worlds circling around it. If even a fraction of them have planets like Earth, the possibility of life out there doesn't just feel likely, it feels inevitable. But the numbers aren't just numbers, they tell a story of perspective. For thousands of years, humans believed the universe revolved around us, that Earth was the center, that we were special, chosen, the heart of everything. But this truth shatters that illusion. We are not the center. We are not even a grain of sand in the cosmic desert. We are smaller than small, our planet a speck orbiting an ordinary star in one ordinary galaxy, floating in a sea of hundreds of billions more. And the question rises, if there are more stars than grains of sand, how many secrets are hidden among them? How many mysteries, how many civilizations, how many histories greater than ours, lost in the eternal silence of space? What wonders exist out there? What dangers, what beauties that we may never see? The most haunting thought is this: when you look up at the night sky, most of the stars you see with your naked eye belong only to our Milky Way, a single galaxy. And yet beyond it, beyond the limits of human vision, galaxies upon galaxies, each one holding billions of stars. Like endless beaches stretching out to infinity, we count sand with our hands, we count stars with our minds, but the universe keeps stretching, growing, expanding beyond the numbers we create. With every telescope we launch, with every discovery we make, we learn that the cosmos is larger, older, and more mysterious than we dared to believe. So the next time your feet sink into warm sand at the edge of the ocean, pause, scoop some into your hand, let the grains slip through your fingers, and know as each one falls that for every tiny particle, a star out there waits, burning, shining, or perhaps already gone, its light only now reaching us after millions of years. A reminder that the universe isn't just big, it's infinite beyond imagination, and we are only beginning to glimpse the edge of its mystery. Where belief collides with reality, time itself begins to twist in ways that seem almost impossible. We think of days and years as unshakable truths, fixed measures of existence. A day is one full spin of the planet. A year is one full orbit around the sun, simple, logical, and questionable. But then comes Venus, a planet so strange, so defiant of our expectations that it breaks our very understanding of time. On Venus, a single day, one full rotation on its axis, lasts longer than an entire year, one full trip around the sun. Let that sink in. Imagine standing on a world where the sun rises in the sky, crawls across the horizon, and doesn't set again for what feels like forever, where the planet itself spins so slowly, sluggishly, almost stubbornly, that it takes 243 Earth days just to complete one rotation. And yet in the same span of time, Venus completes its orbit around the sun in 225 Earth days, which means before Venus finishes spinning once, it has already finished its year. On Venus, a year is shorter than a day. This isn't just trivia, it's a reality-bending fact that redefines what we think we know about planets in motion. On Earth, we take for granted the rhythm of day and night, the balance of the calendar. But on Venus, those rhythms are shattered. If you stood on its surface, you'd wait almost 8 months for the sun to rise from where you last saw it. And when it finally did, you'd see something else unsettling. The sun would appear to rise in the west and set in the east. Venus spins backward in what scientists call retrograde rotation, making its days not only unbearably long, but eerily reversed. And the conditions of that endless day, nothing less than hostile to life as we know it. Venus is often called Earth's twin because it's closens in size and composition, but its surface is hell. The thick, choking atmosphere is made mostly of carbon dioxide, trapping heat so fiercely that temperatures soar to nearly 900 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. Clouds of sulfuric acid swirl through the sky, shrouding the planet in a permanent yellow haze. And beneath those clouds, pressure on the surface is so crushing it would flatten you instantly, nearly 100 times stronger than what we feel on Earth. Imagine waiting 243 days for the sun to rise, only to watch it crawl through skies filled with poison, under heat that could liquefy metal while the air presses against your body like an ocean of fire. That is a Venusian day. And yet here is where the mystery deepens. How can a planet spin so slowly? And why does it rotate backward? Scientists still debate the answers. Some believe that long ago, Venus collided with a massive object that knocked it off balance, flipping its spin. Others suspect that the thick atmosphere itself, with its violent winds and endless storms, drags against the planet, slowing its rotation to a crawl. The truth is still hidden, waiting in the silence of space. Venus in all its blazing beauty is a reminder that the universe does not conform to our rules. It creates worlds that defy our logic, planets that bend time, and realities that seem impossible until proven true. So the next time you glance at a clock or count the days on a calendar, remember Venus. Remember that out there, just one planet away, time itself is rewritten. A world where a single sunrise could outlast your entire year. A world where day and year trade places in a dance only the cosmos could choreograph. Hidden in plain sight, beneath the rolling waves of our oceans, lives a creature so extraordinary, so unlike anything else on Earth, that almost feels alien. The octopus, slippery, elusive, master of disguise. To many, it's just another sea animal, a strange mollusk with arms and suction cups. But inside its body beats a secret that defies everything we think we know about life. Not one heart, not two, but three. And when it swims, two of them stop beating. Yes, the octopus is a marvel of biology. 3 hearts work in harmony to keep its alien-like body alive. 2 of these hearts are dedicated solely to pumping blood through the gills, pushing oxygen into the bloodstream. The 3rd heart takes on the task of circulating that oxygen-rich blood throughout the rest of its body. It's a system of division, of specialization, like an orchestra where each instrument has a role. playing its part to keep the creature moving in the vast underwater world. But here's the part that feels almost supernatural when the octopus begins to swim. When it propels itself forward with a powerful jet of water, the heart that feeds the body completely stops, as if the octopus is built to live in paradox, moving with strength while its lifeblood pauses, relying only on the gill hearts until it rests again. Imagine your own heart halting each time you ran or swam, waiting silently for you to stop moving before it dared to beat again. For us, it would mean certain death. For the octopus, it is survival by design. And there's more. That blood coursing through its veins is not red, but blue. Instead of iron-based hemoglobin, which turns our blood red, octopuses use copper-based hemocyanin, giving their blood a cold oceanic blue. This adaptation allows them to survive in freezing, oxygen-poor waters, places where humans could never last. Their entire circulatory system is proof that evolution has sculpted them into something we can barely comprehend. But why such a strange design? Why 3 hearts? Why blue blood? Why this delicate balance of stopping and starting? The ocean is the answer. The octopus lives in a world of pressure, darkness, and shifting danger. Its body is soft, vulnerable, without bones for protection. To survive, it evolved not armor, but intelligence and physiology so advanced it borders on alien. Its hearts keep its body flexible, adaptable, capable of squeezing through cracks smaller than its own eyes. Its blood keeps oxygen flowing in conditions that would suffocate other creatures. Its very being is built on secrets the ocean demanded it keep. Scientists studying the octopus often remark how strange it feels to look into its eyes. They are intelligent eyes, calculating, curious, almost human in the way they seem to reflect thought. Behind those eyes is a nervous system spread not just in the brain but throughout its arms. Each arm is capable of independent movement, taste, even decision-making. Combine that with 3 hearts beating their own rhythm and blood unlike our own, and the octopus feels less like a creature of Earth and more like an emissary from another world. And here's the haunting thought: this being, with its alien biology and unmatched intelligence, has existed in Earth's oceans for over 300 million years, long before the first dinosaurs walked the land. It has watched the rise and fall of countless species, surviving through time with secrets written into its very blood. So the next time you see an octopus gliding silently through the water, remember what hides beneath its skin. 3 hearts, 2 stopping when it swims, 1 always pushing life forward. Blue blood carrying the essence of survival. A creature that looks back at you not as prey, not as predator, but as something ancient, something almost otherworldly, hiding its mysteries in the deep. In the shadow of the unknown, history bends in ways that leave us stunned. We like to imagine the past as impossibly distant, ancient figures frozen in time, their lives separated from ours by thousands upon thousands of years. Cleopatra, the last great queen of Egypt, feels like a figure from the dawn of civilization itself, a woman wrapped in gold, ruling in the shadows of towering pyramids. But here's the truth that collides with everything you thought you knew. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the invention of the iPhone than she did to the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It sounds impossible, absurd even. The pyramids are the eternal symbols of Egypt, the backdrop we always picture behind Cleopatra's throne. Yet history is not as neat as our imaginations. The Great Pyramid was built around 2560 BCE. Cleopatra lived and reigned between 69 BCE and 30 BCE, nearly 500 years later. To put that into perspective, we stand just over 2,000 years after Cleopatra's reign today. That means she is closer to us, to our phones, airplanes, and satellites than she was to the monument that defined her homeland. Think about that staggering stretch of time when Cleopatra walked the sands of Egypt. The Great Pyramid was already an ancient relic, a wonder from a past so distant even to her people that it would have felt like myth. By the time she ruled, the Great Pyramid was as old to her as the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia are to us now. Imagine her gazing at it the same way we marvel at forgotten civilizations, aware that its builders lived in a time so far removed, their world might as well have been another universe. And yet, we blur these timelines together. We imagine her standing beside pyramids freshly built, draped in the power of a land still young. But the reality is richer, stranger, and more haunting. Cleopatra's Egypt was not the Egypt of the pyramid builders. It was a crossroads of cultures, a kingdom influenced by Greece and Rome, a land where old gods lingered in the temples while new powers loomed at the borders. She spoke several languages, charmed rulers, and fought to preserve a dynasty in an age when empires rose and fell like tides. This collision of timelines isn't just a curiosity, it reshapes the way we see history. The past is not one vast, indistinguishable block of time. It is layers upon layers, stretching farther than our imagination wants to travel. The Great Pyramid had stood for longer than the United States, Rome, and most of modern civilization have even existed. Cleopatra's world was already looking back on that monument as ancient, the way we look at Stonehenge or cave paintings today. And here's the haunting comparison: from Cleopatra's reign to today, it has been about 2,000 years. From Cleopatra back to the pyramid's construction, 500 years. That means that, astonishingly, she is closer to our age of glowing screens and instant communication than she ever was to the workers who hauled stone blocks beneath the desert sun. Picture that. Cleopatra, alive in a time of chariots and scrolls, Closer to smartphones and spaceflight than to the very monuments people forever link to her name, it forces us to realize how deep history runs, how easily our minds compress it into neat images that hide the vast gulf of centuries. So the next time you see the pyramids, don't just see Cleopatra's Egypt. See the truth that to her they were already ancient, already mysterious, already belonging to a world so far gone it slipped into legend, and realize that history isn't a straight line, it's a vast ocean of time, with waves that crash together in ways that can shake everything you thought you knew. The beginning of the wall, where truth waits, takes us not to the sky, not to the pyramids, but deep into the oceans, into the story of survival older than forests, older than mountains that now crumble, older than the trees themselves. Here in the shifting blue swims a creature that has endured through every mass extinction, every upheaval Earth has thrown at it: sharks. And here's the mind-bending fact: sharks existed before trees ever grew on this planet. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? When we think of sharks, we picture modern oceans, apex predators lurking in waters alongside coral reefs and fish. When we think of trees, we picture the foundation of Earth's landscapes, vast forests breathing life into the planet. But history's timeline tells a very different story. Sharks first appeared more than 400 million years ago in the Devonian period. At that time, Earth was a very different place. Life was just beginning to crawl from the oceans onto land. The first vertebrates were exploring shallow seas. And trees, they didn't exist yet. The earliest true trees wouldn't emerge for another 50 million years. So when sharks swam through primeval oceans, towering forests had not yet taken root. The world was covered in low plants, mosses, and small greenery clinging to soil. No shade of towering oaks, no whisper of pine needles, no vast jungles, just seas, landforms still shaping, and the shadows of sharks carving paths through the waters. And here's the haunting part: they survived. They survived the mass extinction events that wiped out nearly all life, not once, but multiple times. When the Permian extinction ravaged the planet, when 90% of Earth's species perished, sharks endured. When the asteroid struck 66 million years ago, wiping the dinosaurs from existence, sharks kept swimming. When ice ages froze oceans, when continents tore themselves apart, when volcanoes scorched the skies, sharks adapted, shifted, and continued. Meanwhile, trees rose, flourished, and vanished in cycles. Whole forests turned to stone buried as fossils. Species of trees appeared and disappeared while sharks remained. Steady, patient, relentless. Their very bodies tell the story of evolution's brilliance. Streamlined shapes, teeth endlessly replaced. Senses so advanced they can detect the faintest pulse of electricity from hidden prey. These designs were so perfect millions of years ago, they barely needed to change. Think about that. When the first forests finally rose, sharks were already ancient survivors, veterans of an Earth we can scarcely imagine. They watched the birth of the trees, the rise of reptiles, the reign of dinosaurs, the emergence of mammals, and finally the rise of us. And today, as we walk through forests, listening to the rustle of leaves overhead, we rarely think of this staggering truth that the oceans hold life older than the forests themselves. That when you see a shark glide beneath the waves, you are looking not just at a predator, but at history incarnate. A living fossil, older than the woodlands, older than the roots that anchor our landscapes. The truth is humbling. Sharks are not just creatures of fear or fascination. They are survivors from an Earth we would not recognize, an Earth before trees, before forests, before the world we know was even born. So the next time you stand among trees, their trunks rising like pillars of time, remember that before their kind ever reached for the sky, sharks were already here, claiming the oceans. And even now, as we dominate the planet with machines and cities, the shark still endures, carrying in its veins the memory of worlds lost forever. And that is the wall we face, the truth that nature is far older, far stronger, and far more enduring than we can ever imagine. If sharks survive before trees, then perhaps they will survive long after us. And maybe, just maybe, when our cities crumble and our forests fall silent, the oceans will still whisper with the shadows of sharks gliding through eternity.